he said, they're probably luring us into a trap. He said, we need to get back to camp. Yeah, I think that's a good idea. So they backed back out of the woods and come back to camp. So as soon as they got back, I don't remember which one it was. One of them said, look, I'm gonna go ahead and go in the tent and get me some sleep. One of them, I don't remember which one was going to the tent, which one was gonna set up for a while. When we went to go in a tent, one of them jumped up from the other side of the tent and run to the woods. And they said, oh man, forget this crap. So they grabbed all their stuff and threw it in the back of Jeff's little SUV. And so they peeled out leaving, and they got to that little pipe gate up there, that first cattle guard, and they got out because it was closed and had the lock just stuck to it. They got to open it, and it was over in the brush on the side of the road in the woods growling at them. Man, they couldn't get that thing open fast enough to get out of there. They ended up sleeping about 6 hours at the truck stop down the road, and to get some rest so they go and make it back to Oklahoma. And that rattled their cage pretty good. You know, I mean, Jeff, you know, Jeff and Dennis both had encounters with these things, but that really rattled their cage because they was coming to camp and messing with them at camp. Well,
that was payback.
Well, I don't know what, you know, nobody knows what would have happened if they would have stayed. I mean, I can't blame the men for leaving because they was tired, they needed to get some sleep, and this stuff was going on. It was about 4 days later. That was on a Saturday night. I come back on a Thursday, and me, Jim, Steve Conroy. I think that might have been it. I don't think there's anybody else. Can't remember for sure. Jim had talked to Jeff several times on the phone and got an idea about what direction he needed to go, where, you know, he's seen this thing with thermal imaging and stuff. So we started out up here. We went down, and he said, well, Jeff said there was a big tree right down in this area, somewhere around that tree. When we got to the tree, we found a puddle of blood about this big around. And then we found little drops coming away from it, going back at the fire lane, coming back this way towards the tower blind. When they come away from the tree, we come up there for about another 20 to 30 foot, and then the blood stopped. And we don't know where it went. That was the end of it. And when Jim was in the truck driving up down through there, and Tommy got up there and said, oh, it's nothing but a log retaining heat. Jim was less than 20 foot from it. And Rick was with him, and whoever was with him, they was within 20 foot of this thing at one point there, and it was sitting by that tree.
You'd think they could have smelled it or something, don't you?
We didn't smell a thing. I mean, we shined lights out there. We had a night vision. We couldn't see nothing. We didn't get eyes shining up. We didn't have the thermal with us.
Yeah, if you'd had the thermal, you know, you would have picked right up on it. So anyway, Tommy cost us a monster. Because Tommy got it for, oh, it ain't nothing. It cost us a monster.
When you're looking through that thing, everything puts off a heat signature.
Right.
And it's hard to tell. Everything's white. It's just white, everything. But the body puts out a much stronger signature.
It was, I guess it was probably 20-something degrees that night. It was cold. The night before a blue northern blew in. And I was down here at the end of the field, before they cut all that over there. You get to the end of the field, then we call it the dim road. It had woods on both sides, ways down through there. We had to stand there, and I say stand. I was up on my tree line, was up a tree right there, overlooking a feeder. And that blue northern blew in. I want you to know I was cold. I looked at the light, like if my keychain, don't know LED light. I had to put it in my teeth and wash my hands and my feet to work the tree lines down the tree because I couldn't feel my hands or my feet either one. I was so cold I couldn't feel neither. And they couldn't hear me on the radio. I got in and I walked all the way back to camp down there. And by the time I walked there, I got my hand circulation back, got warmed up. But I was so cold that night. The next night, it was in the low 20. I think it was 22 or 23 degrees that next night. So anything putting off a heat signature was a living being because everything was cold.
Wasn't no warm log that night, was it?
No.
You know, who was in the stand with the thermal?
Jeff.
Jeff was trying to get out, and we were catching like just about every other word, and Jim was getting madder and madder and madder. He said, "Look, gee, y'all hit the, you know."
That's it.
He got ticked that night. That's the maddest I ever seen him get.
Like I said, everything was crazy that night because our prize was right there. All we had to do was have the right cooperation and communication with everybody, and we could have it.
Something crazy.
a lot of other things I could do.
First time I ever seen him,
It's got a lot to do with that foot.
I knew he was an idiot. You know, he ignored us when we had a hat on. Him and his goons.
I think the favorite thing I ever seen was when they was doing that show, and he was out there with Autumn Williams and somebody else, and they heard something, and both of them tried to break their neck running for the truck to get out of there, and that's what they aired on TV. I laughed. And that's exactly what I thought about him. That's exactly what I thought.
Yeah, it's obvious that he's just in it for the money.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty bad when you got a camera and that's what you're there for, and then you get close to it and you retreat.
Yeah.
Or you think you get close to it. You don't know for sure.
Yeah.
What you think. Oh, they was breaking their neck. They left tore the door handles off that vehicle getting in it. That's my favorite episode. I love it.
That's a nice girl, though.
Oh yeah,
She's real nice.
Oh, I like her. I ain't had no problem with her.
She's real friendly, real nice.
It's just a money taker I have a problem with.
Oh, God, everybody does. I mean, he's an idiot.
Yeah.
Thief.
The only one spoke to me at
I'm saying nice things about him. I'm thinking a lot of things over here that I really don't need to say.
They had one guy that opposed him that spoke to us from the BFRO, and he was from Beaumont.
Huh.
He just moved to California. He asked me what my problem was. I said, that idiot got over there running things.
You getting the leash? Good leash.
Well, by God, we don't want to have that either.
No, we don't have none of that around here.
I don't care which end of the dog there.
That's just a clean camp. We ain't having that crap. You hear that, Scott?
Oh, we could have moved it. By God, they did. Male or female?
Yeah.
They've got that.
Hi, how are you?
Where's Dalton?
He attacked
and I got away. That wants to be close. I'm just fine. Oh,
Hey, you haven't seen each other
It's
for
so
months,
long.
have you?
It has. At least.
Wait a second, brother.
That's Jake.
Hey, brother. Good morning, how are you?
I'm doing well. How are you?
Brother?
How's it going, Jim?
Great, I thought you wasn't coming, brother.
I thought I wasn't either.
I got your message, though. Didn't you call me?
Yeah, I did. We passed it up a couple times.
Oh, did you?
No, we thought we passed it up.
Where's
I
Michael?
was worried.
Hey, he says
Michael
right
Humphrey.
Hey,
I haven't seen you in a while, bro. What's going on, man? Good to see you.
Not put together last time.
Let me tell you something. When Jake and I camp, we take his tent and we can put it up in less than 10 minutes. And I'm talking about, and we float to Buffalo. We take cots, chairs, coolers, and 2 coolers, and a canoe. And we stop on those sandbars and camp. And in 10 minutes we were ready to go to bed. In 10 minutes we were ready to leave. I mean, we had it down to a science. It just pop, and shoot. He found a monster track up there too. He was out getting hustling some firewood, him and some more boys. And got up in those thickets, those briars.
Yeah, comparatively.
Because everybody that camps there gets all the firewood that's available. So they had to get out in the thicket.
The one with the gates and the gravel?
Yeah.
How big a track was it you found? Okay.
It's good to know I'm not the only one, because I heard somebody else say that too.
You knew what it was too, didn't you? What those other boys say?
They didn't see it.
Oh, they didn't?
They were, I walked past them, I went on the other side, there's a big hill, big old rock hill, and there's sand on the other side.
What I use now from Walker is the,
How many tracks you see? Is that enough?
that's all you needed.
I hadn't gotten to it. I kept feeling.
And I'm gonna tell you something, there's a monster in this world, he can live up there. I'm just telling you, that is a very isolated area on that Buffalo. We floated about 35, 40 miles of it. Beautiful.
Yeah, it's timber catch.
Where do you put in
That one.
Huh?
Where do you put in at?
I can't think of the name of that place that we put in. We get our canoe up there at
There's been so much talk.
I can't think of the name of that place. And then we drive. It takes about 35, 40 minutes to drive in there to the backside of Buffalo, and then we float all the way down. They've got a big recreational area there. You familiar with that?
Yeah, I used to go there when I was a kid. My grandpa used to.
Yeah,
Used to just
and that's where we stop. It's usually
these people.
what 3 nights, 4 days. Usually on the 4th or 5th day we're at the recreational area.
Used to be a state park. Now it's a national park.
Oh, yeah. That's what here.
Same time. From your good.
I'm a good girl. I will. My university got
I know you
a water filter. Did you? Yeah.
Get back to the house.
Did you forget your anniversary?
No, I just couldn't remember what the occasion was. So, I told Jim what you wanted for Christmas.
What I want?
Yeah. Jim thinks that's just a little much to be asking a man for a Christmas present. Don't you, Jim?
You bet.
You paint those cabinets?
Oh, come on.
Hey, let me tell you something right now. I've been working on my house painting, and I'm not a painter. It's just about to kill me. I don't have any. I had to go buy clothes because everything I had was covered with paint color. And that's the truth. Every shirt that I own is definitely a work shirt now because I have paint on them. I get. Well, I'm telling you, I'm doing a good job then because I've got paint all over.
get painted on, you do
So you have a white cover on.
Did you get lost, bro?
paint on them.
Everything's fine here, but I got your message earlier this morning. I left my phone.
I took the wrong road down there.
I knew you'd figure it out. I knew I could shoot you.
How'd you get in?
You'll figure it out.
How'd you finally get in?
I backed out and come down the right road.
Uh-huh.
He couldn't
I
get
took
through
a
the gate.
new road down through there and I thought maybe you'd open
Would
this
you
one.
let him jump out of the car at age 12 with a camera go running out the car?
I turned right in front of it.
Yeah.
Pump station. I didn't
Say
know
that.
Showing me where they're here.
Depends on how much
Mike?
longer you get with it.
My wife, Nikki lives in my country.
Hi, Nikki. Nice to meet you.
Maybe they fixed this
This is our host in Oklahoma. when we went up there.
All food. Then you gotta put that combination in your cell phone, guys. You know what a damn monster is. That's a monster.
What, deer?
Hey,
You must have fallen around the tree, I'm sure. Hey, Nikki, that's Kathy, that's my wife. She's the one that left you the message that I was alive.
Oh, yeah. I got
And that behind you, that's Kathy too.
That's Kathy too back here.
Steve's
And this is
wife,
Mrs.
Kathy.
Don Don.
Yeah, there's Vanessa. That's Vanessa. My wife, Nikki. And Lisa. Lisa, and I.
Kristen.
Kristen.
Sissy.
Where'd that come from?
What do you call her?
Kristen.
What you call her? Sissy. I don't miss much.
I probably called her Dorky last night, so yeah. I was probably the one. I call her that every now and then.
Hey, you're lucky to have a husband. If he'd made one more pass, I was gonna shoot his butt down.
We was talking about shooting that plane down and kept buzzing
Yeah.
us.
I was low and slow.
That's what he's doing with your
So
money.
what did you write on the cup?
I wrote it. It's a Whataburger cup I wrote on there. East Texas Steve is checking in.
We come up with it this morning. It should have been BFRO is watching you is what you should have
Y'all go think how that got y'all thinking.
You definitely better make it your last
Y'all
pass
find
and drop
y'all
that
found the
one.
cup?
Yeah.
And signed it Matt Moneymaker.
Yeah.
Sign
You
man.
didn't know it was Steve?
No, I didn't even know the boy had a
Send
phone.
donations too. We went up and searched that field
I
for
know
a half
now.
an hour looking for what he
We'll
dropped.
shoot his butt down and come buzzing over again like that.
I think this place hard to find.
Nikki, I want to tell you how tough this guy
Well, you didn't
is.
look like you had too much trouble.
Well, I had a pretty good idea where it
Well,
was.
you flew right over us one time, and Yeah.
We knew after
When I
that.
seen y'all down there. I didn't even see it. I was looking. I said,
Hogs or what?
whoa, there's the field. Now look, where the hell are they? Over here. There they are. You know. Passed you up, turn around, come back a couple, 3 times.
Yeah.
I wanted to tell Nikki how tough this guy is.
Yeah,
At
I
the last barbecue, he went out and gathered up some firewood in his backyard, and the copperhead
Oh my God.
bit him on the hand, and he just slung it off and came on out and brought the firewood anyway.
That's a team player.
Man, I tell you.
Or an idiot.
Whoa.
He had to figure out which one he had which caddy.
He didn't tell me for several months because I'd have gotten on him about it. I guess.
Oops.
He'd have been in the hospital if I'd been.
He didn't get enough in him.
Playing something.
Can't wait till my brothers. What were you doing this week? Well, I was Bigfoot hunting. They don't know anything about this part of my life.
Oh man.
This one would probably believe because he's
I don't know. I left before you did. They said they had. Robert had something walk by his truck and brush his truck.
This is the Vietnam vet. He's been partial disability.
Yeah, he's in the water.
We're gonna work the northeast side of this
Just to clean
property
my
tonight.
hands.
We ain't gonna do
Really?
this
Scratching the
bottom
dog.
stuff. They're not in the bottoms. They're not in the bottoms. I can't make them be somewhere.
All the movement I heard behind me was out of the bottom.
Yeah, but I'm telling you, there's something that's back over here in this pine thicket. I know they're back in that pine. Something's in that pine thicket because the last coming to that shotgun stand. But
There's lots of stuff in
we
here.
heard that bionic bird come up here last night, and we just need to work that northeast section.
They said the one was right here, and then I had that smell back in there yesterday on that little trail back here.
Bobby would tell you, and Michael's been coming up here for a few years, and he'll tell you, we done whooped these creatures everywhere you can look like. I mean, we've chased them and hunted them, and it just, you know, they're used to us, and they know to avoid us. You know, they're not near as vocal.
Yeah, they waited till we all went to fence last night and got quiet.
Bobby, I mean Billy, Jim, does Sata react a certain way when there's one around?
Singular.
You know, to be honest with you, if they don't put out a stench, you don't even know they're there.
Or if they've got like scent glands, like a skunk or something, they release them when they want to.
And this crap about them smelling all the time, that's garbage. They don't.
Claritin didn't do anything for me. It worked at first.
There's a hillside going down to that bottom over here by the Iron Bridge, and I used to smell something that had that old wet dog smell all the time in there. And I would go in there and it would go. And I figured that was those animals, you know. And I don't know if they were bathing in that creek. And it smelled just about the way Sadie smells when she gets out of that creek. And but I never did ever find any sign of anything laying in there. But I could always, and I'd bring some guys that worked for me at the time, didn't know anything about big, that really wasn't even woods people, you know. And they'd walk that road and they'd always say, "Did you smell that?" And you know, I'd just let them smell it, you know. And I said, well, on occasion I smelled it. We'd walk in there and look. But they've cut this timber, and another thing that hasn't helped either, we've had a dozer down here working the whole week. So, and they're pushing trees down and making a lot of racket, and that's for your deer population as well. But we had that front come in Wednesday, and everything fed Tuesday and on Wednesday before the front come. It's just like any other animal. And they didn't move, and I'm gonna tell you, the last 2 nights that I've driven home, I haven't seen one critter on the road. I saw a cat last night. Other than that, and I drive rural roads coming back to Shreveport, and if I don't see anything, there's just not anything moving. You know, they move, and animals are like that though. They'll feed for an hour, and they'll feed. They won't feed all night. These critters here, if they're in this bedding area, if they've moved out of these pine thickets right here, then they're going to be quiet. But you get out of the area, then you'll start hearing them locate. I think, therefore, that's why you hear the tree knocking in the morning, and because they're just really being quiet. Because see, we very seldom ever have any tree knocking down. I mean, one time I had a wildlife biologist from Wyoming, and Mike Brotherton was here, and I had that wildlife biologist down there where you were last night, as a matter of fact, and he's been all over the country. And as a matter of fact, he's a computer guy now because he couldn't make any money as a wildlife biologist. But they'd done all that filming on tigers. He told me lions and tigers. Went to India, and those tigers, you know, sitting up in the blind. He said, that's kind of spooky at night. He said, because actually you're at a distance off the ground where that tiger can get you if he wants to, you know. But we heard some tree knocking, and Michael and I can't remember, several of us were down there, and God, it was just crystal clear and real loud. It was about 5 or 6 knocks, and then I walked down the road, and I didn't see anything or hear anything. Well, wildlife biologist came out and I asked him, or I didn't ask him anything. He came and there's two things that he said. He said, was that you guys beating on something? And we said, no, that wasn't us. He said, well, I heard that. But he said, you know, he said, I heard something I've never heard before. And I said, you did? What's that? He said, a clicking sound. He said it would click over here and it'd click over there. And he said it must have been 2 or 3 of them clicking, you know.
There's their teeth, or
No, it doesn't sound. It's got a tooth sound to it, but it's not teeth.
It sounds like rocks.
It's not even rocks. I can't.
Like some they're doing
It's
with their
hard to
mouth.
describe.
Or like one of those.
Something similar
Cricket.
to what Don's doing there, but it's real fast. It's real repetitious, and
Guillermo heard it, didn't he? Where's Guillermo?
yeah, where is Gary?
They're out.
Huh?
He's out walking with
Guillermo was saying the thing went on so long he was about to tell it to shut up.
Did he hear it out here or somewhere else? That's just like anybody that's ever heard these things communicate, or what we suspect. Now, let me retract some of this. We've never seen them communicate. We suspect that's what it is because when you're out in the woods, in the middle of the woods, it's completely black, and you can hear stuff walk up to you that's whistling and then walks up in your general area, and you hear something back and forth, and they're actually communicating back and forth. I mean, it's not like just mumbling of one animal. It's like you'll hear one animal and then you'll hear like something answering back.
They're telling each
And
other.
you can't ever, you can hear it, but you can't make out a word on it. I mean, it makes no sense to you. I know the first time I heard them, it's years ago, I was sitting down at the bottom in a treetop. And I was at a point, it's long before I met Bob. And I was going to find out what this was. I mean, I had my shotgun, and partner, I was fixing to scramble some brains. And I'll be real honest about it.
They were gibberishing between each other.
And I could hear them walking, and I could hear a little gibberish, and I thought it was hunters coming down that creek. And I thought to myself, well, there's nobody walking this creek this dark at night without a light. And then I used coon urine around for a scent killer, you know. And man, they hit that urine and quit, just shut up. They backed up, and probably about 15 or 20 foot from the last time I'd heard that gibberish sound, they started that clicking sound. And God, just in a few minutes back behind me off that creek, man, I was surrounded, and it was like, you know how a porpoise clicks? It kind of sounded like a porpoise to me, and it's like there was radar, and they were looking for me. They knew I was there, but they couldn't see me, and I was sitting in a brush top with a black jacket on, had my shotgun and a flashlight, okay, and whooping mosquitoes off of me. And they'd click by me, and I could hear them clicking. It was just like they were looking for me. And I sat there, and it went on probably about 30 seconds, seemed like several minutes, and it quit. And then I heard the tree frogs and the crickets come, so I said, well, they're gone. And I walked up this dim road, and at that time I had dead trees and stuff. You had to crawl over trees, Bobby will tell you, and had to crawl under them. And I just knew something would get me. I mean, it kind of spooked me, you know, because I didn't know these animals, there was more. I thought there was just one of them. I didn't know there was a herd of them. And when I got up to my truck where I could see the windshield, the glint of my windshield from the light, something ran off from behind my truck up that dim road, bipedal. And so I got in my truck and I had to back up. I couldn't see to turn around. There wasn't any place to turn around. That little dim road, and I'm talking a dim road, I mean, it's short and no place to turn around. I had to hang my head out the way. That crap, they don't have a neck. They have a neck. Stand there looking at, I mean, just standing. I could have peed on it. I mean, that's all I can tell you. I mean, that's how close it was to me.
I see that. It ain't gonna be pee I'm worried about if I see that.
That's right.
Yeah, really.
But it ran off and
Don't
we
be
had a
downwind
real
of it.
drive of several winters. And that old ground and sticks and this brush, I mean, you couldn't walk anywhere without making noise. Made less noise than a deer that ran off, or that would run off. And I didn't find any tracks whatsoever. Found a few scuff marks. Where it turned, this thing's standing bipedal, look at me now, and it runs off on all fours. It turned its left and it was gone just like that. And the thing that really spooked me was that something that big could get up that close to me and it being that dry. And I don't think it knew I was there. I think that it heard that fawn, that little call that I made, and was coming to that. I mean, that's what I thought. That's the only way, you know, because that deer stand, that tripod, I put that tripod there 2 years before that even happened, okay?
Was there a feeder there too?
No, the feeder was on down.
And did it take any steps on two legs, or it went straight to all four?
It was standing up looking at me, and when I looked at it, its eyes went like that, and I'm sure my eyes went like that, and it wheeled. And I mean wheeled. And grabbed with that left hand, it was on all fours and gone. I mean, just an instant it was gone. And I couldn't tell you how it was built. I mean, I couldn't tell you body size. All I could tell you was if I hadn't seen it standing there, I'd have told you it was a dog that ran off. Because that's what it looked like to me. And when I've seen him run on all fours, it runs just like a dog. Identical to that dog running. Just straight back. They tuck those legs up underneath and they are gone. I mean,
Fast.
Yeah, 4x4 they can. I've seen them run off on fours and just kind of gallop too. So, but the three-toed. I mean, this is interesting about the Bigfoot, but I'll tell you something that's more interesting to me. I want to know what's making those three claw marks look like a dog track. I mean, I'd like to pop one. And I think I saw one of those one night under a feeder. And I pulled up down there and it ran at about a 55-degree angle. So I had a good look at it. And Jake was with me. And had a big brown spot up underneath its arm, its left arm, or leg. But the weird thing, his spine stuck up about this much further than his ribs came out of it. And I thought, what in the... Oh, but what transpired after that, guys? I pulled down there and I waded those briars, didn't have a flashlight because I'm a redneck and stupid. And I got in there and then I said, well, the truck, something screamed, I mean, just right on the tree line, just screamed, just bloody murder at you. And then they started doing all that whistling. Got out of school, so it was late in the wintertime, and it was almost dark when he got down there. And he was backing up, and he put the four-wheeler in reverse, and when he turned his wheel, he shined something he thought was a stump. This German Shepherd had crossed the creek, and this thing stood up, and it had a snap. He said it raised its hands over its head real tall and started growling at him. So it's about 2.25 miles from there to his house. The dog beat him home, and he was right there. 2 days later, the dog's gone, and never seen that dog again. 2 days. I went and looked at the dog when I was up there. Tim and I went up there, and we were playing the growling sounds that Bobby had recorded. And I don't know if it was the growling sounds or I made Tim crawl in some of these bedding areas that we'd found. And I don't know what it was, but that dog came up to my truck when he heard that or smelled Tim. He tried to get in the house, and my cousin said, God, he's never done that. That dog's an outside dog. But 2 days later, he was gone.
He was an outside dog.
Yeah, well, I don't know where he is now. I mean, somebody may have picked him up. You know, I don't know anything about the dog. I just know he's gone. But
right there.
It's amazing how things come up. This one time, we had an old Jeep up there that had a litter. I'm talking about. She'd have 11 or 12, something like that, and every one of them would live. You know, it's old cur dogs.
Yeah.
If you'd had money in that dog, you would have had 2 pups out of it. And they'd get up old enough to hunt. They'd thin the herd, bud. I mean, you wouldn't find, I'd lose 2 or 3 a day. I'd come down here and they'd just keep being gone. And I don't know what happened to them. I don't know if somebody's down there shooting them or what. And I don't know. I don't think so because I kept the place locked up.
Coyote might get some of them.
Coyotes may have been getting them. But no, and I doubt this because they were pretty, you know, even 9 or 10 month old pup. They weren't little big pups.
6, 8 months old.
Yeah. They'd run those rabbits. I'd hear them running rabbits. I'll tell you what.
They're hunting cur dogs. They stay away from coyotes.
Yeah.
Boy, I've seen a coyote just kick butt on a house dog.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, you ever seen a coyote in a fight? Man,
Well, they put on a display
that
that's
cartoon
incredible.
that's Tasmanian devil. I mean, I seen a coyote just climb all over a pit bull. I mean, just chew that dog from one end to the next before I could even get to it. I mean, just that dog was a bad shit.
We have a buddy of mine. They like to go coon hunting and everything. They ran across a little baby bobcat one night. He got up in an old hollow stump. This dumbass is gonna reach up there and grab that little baby bobcat about that long. He told about this the next day. He had was scratched from here. Ate me alive.
The thing about it is, you can grab them, but you can't get rid of them.
No, no, he was trying to get rid of him.
I know my
He wasn't
brother
playing around.
one time years ago with a steel trap. He's gonna go let that cat out.
Take a radio with you in case you see something.
That cat ate him alive.
Oh well, hell, we
Finally, he went and got him a stick like that.
devil you.
You got a radio on?
Yeah, I always
That's
got
the
my
same
radio
thing.
in case somebody's out.
Some of our hang dogs have been in steel
If you see
traps.
something,
They
hey,
let 'em out.
Craig, I'll take the shortcut straight through.
I thought we walked last night down there, box stand in the field.
Yeah, you know a little road up that went to the left and that road I looked up in. That's where we ended up coming out. We were back here on the parking line back there all the way up, and we finally found a little country and come back through.
Oh, come to that four-way intersection there.
This is in the back part of that pasture, where that mechanical figure was.
Along the edge of the property.
His box stand was right there, and I walked the side of it, and there was that little road up through there. That's how we ended up coming back through. From way back down in here somewhere.
I didn't know much about it. I really didn't. I just kept thinking, I didn't want to say, oh, almost there.
I was about ready to say that.
Yeah, I was really getting worried. I thought, oh man, please, better get back to.
They say you do it every 3 months.
We walked it was a good 2 hours. We left before
Because that, we walked.
Right at 7 and coming at 8. We ate, we ran a little bit, and we probably left by 10. Got back at 12.
It's the same as it always has been. No, it's not. I'm gonna tell you where Michael lives.
stopped dead to sign.
That's how they're hiding. Where Michael lives, he don't even go out in the woods. He sits there on the porch.
Oh, wow.
Backyard. Right there, huh?
He's got
That's cool.
weirdest thing. We came in one night, visiting with Michael during that memorial weekend, which everybody's y'all just got to go to that. And beautiful country. But Michael was showing us a picture or a video of this Bigfoot and several of them. And just an alarm went off in his truck. And so he really didn't know whether he mastered the thing or not. He didn't think he did, you know. Outside, looked around, didn't see anything. The next morning, Mike's daddy comes over. We're sitting there talking. What is he, 80 years old? 86. 86. We're sitting there talking, you know, and I'm listening to him, and it's real interesting. He said, yeah, about 3 o'clock, one of them so-and-sos came up and put the stench on me, or I smelled it or something. That was about the time that went off.
Oh.
Just wasn't.
Oh.
And he didn't even know, you know, anything about that.
Yeah.
How far from the area we were in up there by the creek from we dig?
It's gonna be 101.
Oh, it's quite a ways away.
I'm gonna tell you something, that'd be full grown, bro.
Yeah.
East Forest, he's still full grown. Did you ever figure out what that looked like above that track? Was that knuckles or?
Look at that, and it's hard to say.
What did you do?
That's a good one. You get
One
more
of those
detail.
people said frustrating.
When I took those pictures of those tracks, my sister-in-law took it, and she said she found several of them.
It was so
I didn't see it. I didn't believe the monsters either.
Here, I'll say, I'm gonna do.
Then we're gonna try back in here this evening.
See, this afternoon late, when we start going out, we're gonna go to the northeast. We're gonna go to the creek, and we need somebody down these lanes, and we need somebody's lane, and we're gonna kind of filter out. I got a pine thicket over here. I used to have no deer stand right there, and that's a good bedding area. And we're gonna go down that dim road and put somebody over in that tripod. Always heard walking noises back behind. I do know that they would leave from here during the summer months and go to the northeast side, and I can't tell you why. In the wintertime, they back down here, and the deer would move up there. And that's always been weird. I don't know why. I understand why the deer would move, but I don't understand why these animals would move.
Yeah, the deer's leaving because the monkeys come down there.
I'd come down here and listen, you know, in the summertime years ago, and I wouldn't hear them down here. And I said, well, I guess they're gone, you know. I don't know where they are. And I went up the gate one time, and I was either closing the gate or opening the gate. And that bionic bird, well, I knew then. And, well, they came right to me out of that pine thicket. I said, And I went to mother-in-law, and I said, they just raised
We
it.
got one on there. I know.
First time that he had seen one down was that walked across her front yard.
Also get
He said it was huge. He said 800 foot tall. He
yeah.
was an alcoholic. He's down there digging that pond at the time, and everybody thought he
get
was
the
just
honor
drunk or
code.
something. And as a matter of fact, I probably did it.
That's what she gets
And,
the honor.
I know better now. He did something. Now, whether it's 8 or 9 foot tall, I don't know, but he did see something. Then my wife's
I
uncle
just try to make her dance.
was down there fooling with his old truck and wouldn't start down there fooling with his cows. And he saw 2 of them quadruped. He said they were massive animals. My little cousin drove up on one down on this creek. And my uncle, when he come down there,
Big character?
Tim and I and Butch pulled a calf for him down here, and I called him about 2 o'clock in the morning. I said, you got to bring a tractor down there. We can't get. We knew if she laid there, she'd shock and die. That cow was dead the next day. We'd come down and get that calf. Lord. You're scared, bud. I'm just telling you. My daddy-in-law wouldn't come down here at night by himself. He'd come down here with me. He'd come down by himself at night. Man, God started turning the lights off. They all started going home. Why didn't she come? She don't like us?
No,
She don't like Rick told us what it is. I told you, Rick.
Tim, get you
And don't you get in line nothing there another time either. I'll take a limb to you if you do.
Tim, you get enough to eat?
Yes, sir.
Good. All that bitching I was wondering.